What's up, everybody? Just wrapped up another really good episode. This was with Dillon Burns. Dillon is a Des Moines firefighter, former military veteran, and founder of the Fittest First Responder Challenge, which is going to take place January 10th, 2026 at Sisu, Waukee, the first annual inaugural. This is the ground floor version, level 1. It's happening January 10th. So we talk a lot about that, and we talk a lot about his journey to get to the Des Moines Fire Department, and then his passion for health and fitness and how he wants to deliver that passion to people. So it's about an hour show. It's great content, great discussion, a lot of good stuff. If you're interested, I'll post all the links to his social media and the link to the Fittest First Responder Challenge. I think anybody can register if you want to compete alongside with your first responder community. But the competition itself, from what I understand, is first responder driven. $100 entry fee. All the proceeds are going to the Folds of Honor, which if you've listened in the last 6 weeks or so, you're familiar with what the Folds of Honor mission is, which is to provide scholarships to children of fallen and disabled first responders and veterans. So pretty cool event. I'll be there as a competitor and as a volunteer for the whole day. Can't wait. It's going to be a great event. And this is the first one, so it's only going to grow and get better as Dillon goes. So you can visit the Instagram page at Fittest First Responder. You can visit Dillon's Instagram page, the Dillon Burns Method, and then I'll post the link to the First Responder registration page, and you can read all the info on there about how to do it. Getting towards the end of 2025, we're going to do one more show this year, and that's going to be like a 2025 wrap-up show. Just kind of cover where we've been and where we want to go next year. So stay tuned for that, and then I will get this one edited and published just as soon as I can. So can't wait. Work hard. Be kind. Bye.
All good.
There you are, man. What's going on?
Yeah, not much. Had some technical difficulties, so I just did it on my phone.
The internet is a strange place, man. One day it works, and then the next day something you do the same thing, it works totally opposite. You ever notice that?
I have, yeah. And then today there's
froze. There you go.
Yeah. Let me connect to the Wi-Fi real quick.
Yeah, I got you.
Perfect. There's a pretty decent echo. I don't know if you can hear it on your end or not. Maybe it's just me.
I cannot, but there's an echo cancellation that I can click on yours. And so we narrowed that down actually on one episode to just feedback through whatever device you're using. So like if you were to have headphones on, you wouldn't be able to hear it. Yeah, okay. I cannot hear it at all.
All right, I can deal with it.
There's a little delay in your speech, but I can fix that too on the editing.
All right. I tried to log on the computer, and it was, for some reason it wasn't. I used Firefox, and so I already had Chrome, but now Chrome wasn't opening. Just decided to use the phone. Hopefully it works.
Always something. You look good. I mean, your image looks very clear and crisp, and
okay.
So
that's good.
I've had worse happen, man. So if something bad goes down, we'll either A, do it again, or B, I'll just see what I can edit it and see what happens.
Yeah.
But it's nice to finally meet you.
Yeah, man. Same. Likewise.
There's 3 things I want to hit on while we're here. Number 1, so I want to talk about who is Dillon Burns. I want to talk about your method that I've seen on the Instas, and then obviously the big topic is we're going to talk about the Fittest First Responder thing.
Yeah, man, I'm in.
Coming up on January 10th in Waukee. That's going to be pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's gonna be great.
So, is this what day off is this for you?
First day off. We had a pretty good night though, so
Yeah,
I'm not hurting too bad.
good. What's your first day off routine? How's that? What's that usually look like?
Usually I come home and I'll go to bed. I'll get the kids ready for school and get them off, and then I don't schedule anything or do anything before noon usually, which is why I inquired about doing this early afternoon so I could get some rest. I just never know what the night's going to be
Yes.
like, so I tend not to schedule anything until noon. I just started doing that about a year ago, and it's really changed just how I operate with the last half of the day and then my second day off. So it's pretty good shift. So, and then obviously immediately after I wake up, I'm eating and then getting a workout in.
How long have you been on the fire department?
January will be 4 years.
And this is the first. So you had to have been right around the same time Malcolm was.
Yeah, I think he was the year before me, if I'm not mistaken. He was 97th, I think, and myself and my classmates were 98th.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's interesting though because he adopted that same practice, and so him and I worked 24/48 in West Des Moines for a long time, and we never did that. But then he got into the Des Moines Fire Service. So did you guys pick that up from somewhere? Was that a pro tip from somebody that's been there a long time? Because it seems like a really good idea to just block off 4 hours of time when you come home to just sleep.
Yeah, for sure. There's other guys and girls that do that. I didn't really speak with anybody about it. It was just in tune with how my body was acting and reacting after I would get off. Obviously, the first couple of years, it's cool to sign up for all the overtime and do all the events and all that kind of stuff. And it still is fun. I still enjoy it a lot, but I've just kind of dialed it back more so than I did those first couple of years. Just I guess lessons learned, knowing how my body responds and is operating on a daily basis. That's really what I kind of boil it down to. It's helped out a ton.
Have you always been in tune with that though, even before you were in the fire? What'd you do before you got in the fire service?
Oh yeah, a lot of different things. Immediately before the fire service, I was working for UPS, doing the early like 2 a.m. mornings, doing the warehouse. Yeah, shifting moving the boxes around, loading the trucks, and then I'd go and meet a driver, and then we'd deliver packages all day until 6 or 7 p.m. So that was a grind.
Yeah.
But I mean, a lot of things. I was in the Navy from 2002 to 2013.
Wow.
Yeah, so
Thank
it's
you for your
been,
service.
yeah, man, I appreciate that. So it's been a while. I was a kid during that time. I feel like I've really come into my adulthood after the military service, which is, some would see it as being opposite of that, but it really took me quite a few years after I got out of the military to really figure out what I wanted to do with my life. Um,
What did you do when you were in the Navy?
I was on a ship for a little while, went through some training initially, didn't make it. Went to a ship, did my rate, which was quartermaster, so navigation, communication stuff. Went through another training pipeline for Riverine Squadron, got through that, made it. So I went from shipboard life to basically uh, land stuff, land warfare stuff, small boat tactics, small unit tactics, and stuff like that. So Riverine Squadron, I don't think exists anymore. They morphed into like a coastal Riverine security force. But think of like those small boats in Vietnam that went up and down the river. It's called Brown Water Navy. That's what we took all of our training tactics and procedures from Vietnam era guys.
So, speaking about Vietnam era, that was the introduction of the U.S. Navy Sea Wolves in Vietnam, which was the armed helicopter
Right.
fighter pilot. And so, I have a podcast episode with Kit Brown, who was a U.S. Navy pilot. He used to fly around the Navy SEALs, and so he commanded that same. So the U.S. Navy Sea Wolves over the course of many decades has morphed into different programs and different program names. But when he retired, he was in command of that same program. I just
Awesome.
think it's cool how things come about. Things come about in one conflict and how they kind of like change. The core stays the same, but they kind of change faces over time, and it ends up being the same thing. So like your unit, and I've read about a lot about that Vietnam stuff where they go up and down the river and do that kind of stuff. So it's just interesting how they connect. The generations are connected that way, especially in the military.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, where else do we get our knowledge and understanding of what it is that we're doing? We got to go back to people who were there doing the same kind of thing and talk to them about what they were doing. I didn't necessarily have anything to do with the standing up of the unit or building out the trainings, tactics, and procedures or anything. But when we got there, it was, we need to read about where our unit came from and how they operated, and then we need to figure out what we need to do, because I think 2006 is when the Riverine unit first stood up. And I mean, going through all the different trainings, that's not when I was there. I got there in 2008. So two squadrons had already deployed at that point, and then so they've figured out how to do it. They took over from, I think the Marine Corps took over from the Army. Navy took over from the Marine Corps doing the waterborne security, and then I don't know if anybody's doing it right now. I'm sure there are somewhere in the world, but the Riverine Squadron or the Riverine Force is now a coastal Riverine thing, I believe.
Same holds true in the fire service too, right? Like you don't know where you are unless you know where you came from, and Des Moines Fire obviously has a deep tradition of certain things. And you could just imagine, like Jeremy's dad, his generation being on the fire service, like what great stories they got to share. And then, some of the stuff that you guys are doing today is because of that generation. Either did it right or did it wrong back then.
Right. You gotta learn somehow, good or
Did
bad.
you always want to be on the fire department?
Um, no, not really. Honestly, I tell this story like when I was in the Navy and on the ship, they had a firefighting team, and I was like, man, that doesn't look fun in any way, shape, or form. I don't think, at least shipboard anyway. Didn't seem too interesting to me. They're always working, always hot and sweaty, always doing a bunch of stuff, and I was like, I'd rather train and try and get back to what I initially came in for. But um, I didn't, honestly, and that might be kind of a bad answer, but no, I didn't. Not until I think 2015, 2016, I started thinking about it. At that time, I had started a gym, and that kind of got me into the whole business thing and wanting to be an entrepreneur and stuff like that. And we ended up closing it a couple years later. And at that point, I was really considering applying for different departments around Des Moines. I didn't do that until we closed in 2017. I think was my first year applying, and I applied 4 times throughout the next 5 years, and ended up getting hired on the 2021 cycle for 2022 class.
So two
Or
questions.
no, yeah, 2022. That's right.
So two questions. Did you own a CrossFit gym in the metro?
We were not affiliated with CrossFit, but it was a strength and conditioning is what we called it. But my background in CrossFit, I had my first cert, I think in 2009 through CrossFit. And so I've been a part of the community for over a decade now. We did not affiliate, but we did a lot of functional movement type stuff.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
What was the name of your gym?
It's called Anchor Nutrition Strength Conditioning. So we were right across the road from North High School. If you know the Tony Morrow powder coat shop that has the fake palm trees and like the stucco exterior. Anyway, if you're ever driving up 2nd Avenue and you're going north past North High School, it's on the right hand side there.
I don't get to the north side very often.
Me either.
Flew over the north. Where are you at now? I mean, where do you live? You live in the metro?
I live in Van Meter, so we're a little further west now.
Well, you and I are real close. I'm just up here in Adel.
Yeah, I think I was listening to one of your podcasts previously. I think you mentioned that, and that's pretty cool. Yeah, we're right down the road, man.
Well, good for you guys. What pulled you to the fire service? Like, what out of something that you clearly wasn't interested in, and all of a sudden now, your career now. So there had to have been some sort of pull, some sort of draw.
Yeah, honestly, so my uncle, uh, it was a chief in Miami-Dade Fire Department, and I had not
It's a
we
big
didn't really
department.
talk. Yeah, we didn't really talk a whole lot about it, but I knew that he was a firefighter. My wife's father or grandfather was a firefighter in Cincinnati. So we have kind of two things pulling at us, and he and I had conversations about it. He would always talk to me about her grandfather because he was local. Obviously my uncle was not, but he and I had conversations before he passed. He would always show me all of his stuff and talk about his career and what he did and his experiences, and that kind of that just really got me thinking about it. And the more I thought about it, the more sense it made with everything that I kind of do and implement in my life. I felt like it would correlate well with being a firefighter. At the time, I didn't have any idea what being a firefighter or being in the fire service would entail um, until I got into the academy and then on the streets. But yeah, that kind of led me into it. And then the closing of the business, the writing was kind of on the walls. Um, I wanted to do something that would help move the needle forward in my life and help me push my own boundaries physically and mentally. And I thought that would be a good way to do it. So I started applying. 5 years later, finally got hired.
Persistence pays off, man. Good for you.
Yeah.
It's a pretty cool fraternity, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it's mind blowing the things that you don't know. And then you get into the department and then you start to kind of see like, it's, there's a big correlation between, how I was living my life and the things that have changed now. But I feel like there's kind of unity from before and after, but there's just so much more experience now with actually having been a firefighter and now a fire medic for about a year. It's awesome. Great group of guys and gals. I think probably everywhere you go, you're going to have uh, good men and women on the fire department.
So you're on the ambulance now?
Yep, I promoted March of this year to fire medic, so riding the squad 24/7.
Congratulations. I have said this to
Thank you.
more of you that have done this than I can count. But in no other service is the ambulance a promotion. Where like everywhere I've worked, man, everybody's trying to get off that damn thing. And you guys promote it, which I think is great, but it's just odd to see like the guys I grew up with and the services that I grew up with, we always trying to find ways to get off that thing because I mean it's busy. It's 80% of any fire department that they do, and the fact that you guys promote it, I think number one is a good thing, but number two is just every time I hear it, it's weird to me.
Yeah, and there's no I mean, it's a hard job with a lot of responsibility, but it's for me it's it's something that I wanted to do when I was in the Navy. I tried to cross straight over to corpsman, and that never came to fruition. So there's always been this idea of I want to be involved in the medical field in some way, shape, or form. So I did know eventually that I would want to test and try and promote to fire medic and be in that position for a period of time. And it just happened to the opportunity presented itself, and I took it, and thankfully I passed the tests, passed the interviews, and got promoted.
Well, good for you, man, because we need more people to do it. Certainly a different pace, isn't it?
Yeah, it is for sure. Yep. Yeah.
I work part time at one of our metro fire departments too, as a medic only, obviously by the beard. But it's a fire department, and man, I am just I'm gone all day, and those guys are every now and then gone. And so hopefully, if it works out in 2026, I'll be more on the side of the fire department, which means I'm gonna have to come up with one of them mustaches that y'all wear,
Yeah. Yeah.
which I did for a day.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's got a beautiful mustache, and
He
he
does.
called me out on my last show how much I trashed my own mustache, and I was like, "Listen, it looks good on everybody but me. Like you look really good with a mustache. I do not. Uh,
Some people are
but
born
hey,
for it, man.
right. But if it's part of the uniform, man, I'll wear it proudly.
Yeah. Who
Um,
cares what you look like at that point?
right. So where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Des Moines on the south side, so right across the street from the zoo. Parents are still live there, so I'm over there pretty frequently, and I'm at Station 8 pretty frequently as well, which is nice because that's my old stomping grounds right by the airport. Yeah. Yep.
Have you always had uh some sort of affinity to health and fitness?
I think so. I mean, growing up, I played sports. Uh, I played baseball since I was 6 years, t-ball since I was 6, baseball all through high school. I even played a season on the Navy for the all Navy baseball team, which is pretty cool.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a unique opportunity. Football all through middle school and high school, ran track, did all that stuff. So, I mean, I think probably my junior and senior year in high school were the time when I really started to get serious about it, just like any football, baseball player would. We didn't have a whole lot of guideline or guidance at that point in time, as this was early 2000s. So not a whole lot of guidance in the weight room, but you get in there and you figure it out. And I think going into the military, it kind of really set in stone with me that pace of fitness really needs to be there, especially if you want to be competitive in any sort of selection process, or you want to be you just want to have a healthier life. I kind of set in stone there early in the Navy, and then I initially got at a certain point I got a command fitness leader position, and so I was running fitness and health screenings and all sorts of stuff for everybody on board the ship, and that tailored over into the Rivering group, where I would also help with physical training and PT and leading group fitness stuff. So that really kind of set in stone for me that's probably what I wanted to do in some way, shape, or form with my life when I got out, and I just kept pursuing it after that.
You saw me smile there because you said the early 2000s, and I was like, man, I grew up in the late 1900s. So if to put it in perspective, when you talk about guidance in the weight room and stuff like that, like we had our football strength and conditioning program. I had obviously that in high school, and then I had it also in college, which was the same type of structure, right? Just rip as much weight off the floor as you could,
Yeah.
regardless of regardless of mechanics or whatever, because numbers matter. And I
Yep.
100% bought into that, right? Like I'm not complaining about it. Like I was that guy. Like we're gonna grip it and rip it in the weight room all day long.
Yep.
And fitness in the late 1900s was different. I grew up with bodybuilders. I grew up in the steroid era.
Yeah.
I grew up Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sylvester Stallone, Jean Claude Van Damme. Like, I mean, it was awesome. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, and so I always wanted, like, I did this. I can remember in junior high, it was graphic design class. I made a business card for my own gym, and
Nice.
I had a picture of Lee Haney on it. You know who Lee Haney is?
Well, of course I do.
Of course you do, right? So he was between Arnold and he was between Arnold and Ronnie Coleman. And Lee Haney was Mr. Olympia. And so I had a big picture of him doing the big flex on it, and was always going to start a gym. And I had those sand weights, the stupid sand weight dumbbell barbell set that every
Yeah.
80s family had in their thing, and
Yeah. The
the rock
plastic.
the rock yes, the Rocky 4 soundtrack, man. I was going to do it. I ate a bunch of spaghetti and did a bunch of bench presses. Uh,
Nice. I love
turns
that.
turns out turns out my genetics never really propelled me forward in any sort of bodybuilding thing. But
Yeah, I hear that.
American Gladiators was big back then, man. It was awesome. Uh, so anyway, long story short, you get out of college, and you don't have any structured programs anymore, right? So you put on 15 or 20 pounds, and you're like, I'll get back in the gym. You get back in the gym for 2 or 3 months, and you're like, this sucks. I'm sore all the time. So you quit. Then you get 15, 20 pounds heavier, and you go back to the gym. And basically I cycled that for, I don't know, 5 years.
Yep.
And so now fast forward to your generation, the early 2000s, and I'm getting workouts from like Men's Health magazines, and there's the 6-week programs to blah, 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 or whatever. And those always flamed out. And then in West Des Moines, when I got hired in West Des Moines, I was 240 pounds. And by my second year in West Des Moines, I was down to 170
Okay.
with just diet and doing stuff. But in the interim in there, I found CrossFit is the point of the story. Is I found some sort of programming that never expired, basically, right? So you never got tired of it. It never regenerated itself. It was always new. It was always for time. There was always a metric to beat, right? And I think that's what hooked me into this kind of what you do. What I think your method is too, just based on the looks of your Instagram page and the apparatuses you have in your house. Uh, that's what drew me to it. Is it was all, I could never beat it. I could never
Yeah.
finish the program. Does that make sense? Is that kind of where
Yep.
you're at with
Yep.
yours?
Yeah, absolutely. And I would be remiss if I didn't give CrossFit a lot of credit to kind of building what I'm building right now. I mean, it's been my life for a greater part of a decade, whether I'm running a business or I'm coaching at a CrossFit gym. I just recently stopped coaching at CrossFit West Des Moines. I'd been doing that for 5 years. Um, just because of my passion for it. I could care less about getting paid. I've coached maybe 2 to 4 classes a week, and it's just something that fuels me, to be able to help other people. But yeah, the methodology that is high intensity functional fitness at varied capacities and modal domains, I think is the whole thing. Whatever that actually means, it just the implementation of that in somebody's life, you see them go from not doing anything to enjoying fitness again, or maybe for the first time, and that's really enjoyable for me to see and also to practice.
Well, I think the big kicker is too, and I know that we catch a lot of shit as CrossFitters, right? Like for our butterfly pull-ups
Oh
and
yeah,
some of the weird shit they come up with, like a reverse burpee. Nobody's doing those, man. Like those are the dumbest thing I've ever watched on YouTube, probably. Uh, I couldn't even explain it to you how to do a reverse burpee, but they're just dumb. But anyway, long story short, so we get hammered a lot by the non-CrossFit community about
oh
some of
yeah,
this stuff, and I 100% get it, and I'm for it. Like, please, by all means, like, pour it into me. I love it. Like, I can, but one thing CrossFit has never done to me is it's never bored me. Like, I've never looked at my garage gym and went, yeah, I just don't want to go today. Because I do. Every day I get up, I want to get out there and I want to be better than I was yesterday. But it has always been infinitely. One thing I learned a long time ago in strength and conditioning, because my wife's a strength and conditioning coach for the school district she works for,
oh, awesome,
is when we learned how to do things in the late 1900s, there was only one way. You either did it or you did not do it, right? So like back squats. I saw a lot of kids in my football team that were just awful at back squatting, but there was never any sort of like scalable alternative, right? It was you either did it and you fell forward and you dumped the weights on the floor, or you got down and you got back up. Those were your two choices. But with CrossFit, you can do anything. Everything's got a scale and it's infinitely scalable, right? So back squat to box squat to goblet squat to air squat, right? Like whatever you want to do, so everybody can participate. That's the point I'm trying to make, is you can make a workout out of anything.
yeah. No, I totally agree, and I think I mean, over the course of time, like you said, it's got a bad rap, but the good gyms out there, you can make a program out of CrossFit and cycle it in micro, macro, and meso cycles just like anything else. And you have benchmarks that you need to hit, and you've got time hacks and all sorts of different stuff. So I think a lot of the gyms that have stuck around for 10 plus years, or have been around 15, 20 years even now at this point, they have a good functional programming setup. And whether it's repeatable or scalable or modifiable, it's all going to be that way. But they've got programs set up so that people are making progress. And I've kind of noticed that at other gyms around the country, where if they're successful, they've got a good community, obviously number one through CrossFit, but they're very in tune with their programming and how they're putting that out and giving that to their members.
Yeah, they're certainly sustainable. I've always wondered why like some of these smaller CrossFit gyms like didn't make it, but some of these bigger ones do it. The Redline CrossFit that you and I were visiting with, they were circa CrossFit Primal, and that's the first and only CrossFit gym I've ever belonged to, and it was great. Loved everything about it. But they're still around, right? But there's been a lot of CrossFit gyms that have come and gone over the last decade, and it makes you wonder why. Because the method of exercise is certainly sustainable. It's not a fad. I think if it was a fad, it'd be gone by now.
Yeah, I agree.
That being said, tell me about the Dillon Burns Method. What is that about? Or tell us about the Dillon Burns Method. What is it about? Where did it come from? What's your goals? What's your philosophy? Tell us about that.
Yeah, so the initial inception of the Dillon Burns Method was shortly after we closed the gym, and I was just searching for something, man. So I ended up signing up for this entrepreneurship group where we would do meetings and conferences and stuff online, and then once a year we'd go down to Franklin, Tennessee, and have a big conference with everybody at this guy's house. He had this huge setup. So the guy who, I'll give him a little bit of credit here, the guy who created the concept and idea to put computers into hotels and then sold that company for millions and millions of dollars, he's the one who started this entrepreneurship group. So I went down there and started learning from him and his partners and people that he did business with, and this is just a really cool thing. And one of the guys that came in and spoke to us, I think it was the second year that I was down there. His name was Peter Kozadoy. We became pretty close. He's a really good dude. He's written a couple of books on business and mentorship and stuff. And his whole speech was about personal branding and creating a brand around your experiences and what you've lived throughout your life. So that was kind of really the first concept of I feel like I can definitely relate to this, but I don't have any idea, what to do or how to set this up. So I came home and thought about it for probably 6, 7 months, 6, 7, 8 months, not to drop a 6, 7 reference on your podcast, but something around that time. I've got young kids, man. It's on top of mind all the time.
I got a 9-year-old that is this all day long, and she plays tricks on me to get me to say it too.
Yeah, I can't even say it without chuckling.
Yeah, she's like, "Hey, Dad, 2, 3, 4, 5," and then she's like, "What's next?" So it's whatever. I play along a little bit, but whatever.
Yeah. It's more fun in our household than anything. So anyway, thought about it, created this concept of the Dillon Burns Method, and if I'm being honest, I was big into following Wim Hof. Man, he had this thing called the Wim Hof Method, and so there's no new ideas, right? There's just ideas that are recreated and regenerated. And so I was like, that's pretty cool. I like what he's got going on. I looked at all these different people who made personal brands around their life and maybe around their name, and kind of formed a concept of my own. And so initially, it was really evolved into 5 pillars, which aren't the same pillars.
That's all right. I just got to.
My back.
You're on my thing. I just got a pop-up message that said your recording is stopped, and then, but I see you and I can hear you. So
Okay, that was yep. All right, I'm back.
I never lost you.
Okay. I had a phone call on my phone, which is why I didn't want to do it on my phone. But
oh yeah, sure, I got you.
Yeah. Anyway, back to where I was. Created the concept of the Dillon Burns Method. Created the pillars of physical, physiological, mental, emotional, and spiritual, and I put that all into this big bucket. And then I kind of described and defined what those things meant to me in my life, because those were the important things that helped me to wake up and make progress and do certain things in my life. And I wanted to put that out to other people. I never really made a business around it by any means. If anything, it was more for me to kind of go through the process of setting this up. Like, how could it look in the future, and how can I build this out? Had a website and everything. Never really generated any revenue through that. I was still working kind of odd jobs and doing things again after I closed the gym and had started applying for the fire department. I was kind of just building this slowly over time, and eventually um, got hired on the fire department. So this is like probably a 3 or 4 year span where I was just kind of chipping away at trying to build this out and trying to build things from my life into the Dillon Burns Method, and got on the fire department, and it kind of morphed into what it is now over the last, I would say, 3 years or so. I've been working to really refine and define what the Dillon Burns method is, and it came to me as the method, performance, and nutrition. And this is something that I've been working hard on and diligently over the last year, and it's really morphed into something bigger than what I initially thought it would be. But now it's moving into online coaching, offering services online, whether it's through the 4 pillars now, which is strong, build, endure, and recover. So those are the 4 pillars of the method performance now. And I feel like I can take everything that I had, the 5 pillars before, and build those into those 4 pillars. And so that's what I'm working on now. The end goal, which it will be the end of the beginning or the beginning of the end, August of 2026, which will be 10 years from when I opened doors at Anchor. I'll open a small studio space here in the metro and be able to offer one-on-one coaching services, testing for VO2 max, blood work analysis, all sorts of different stuff. Strength conditioning for tactical athletes, i.e. firefighters, first responders, police, military, veterans, all the communities that I've been a part of. Those are the communities that I want to serve moving forward. So really the target or niche audience would be first responders, veterans, and active military and their families, of course.
Man, you and I, we're gonna have to do a whole nother show about that, just that specific, because I can really nerd out on that kind of stuff. Good for you, man. I think that's great. I've always said for a long time, ideas are stupid, right? Unless you put them into action. That doesn't mean that every idea is a winner, right? It just means that you put forth some sort of action to your idea to find out if it's a winner or not, right? And one of the cool things I heard the other day was weakness haunts us all. And that doesn't mean necessarily weakness in strength, like, I didn't hit a certain PR on my deadlift. It means I was too weak mentally or too weak spiritually to do something, to try something, to invent something, to innovate something, to maybe walk over the next ridge while I was deer hunting, or I sat on an idea and talked myself out of it out of fear, right? So to hear this, like, this is more than I could have ever the story is great. Like, this is the exact kind of stuff that I want on this show, right? Which is I'm a normal dude. I'm doing some normal stuff. I've got what seems to be a normal life. I'm up and down. I'm not sure what I want to do when I grow up, and kind of take it. But I have this center core idea where I know that if I can just get this idea out, it would impact a bunch of lives, right? And so how do I do that? What's my message? Well, I happen to apply for this wonderful fire department called the Des Moines Fire Department, and I actually got on, and it's a whole network of people that think how I do, and do the, and have the same kind of habits I do, but there's a whole nother community out there that don't. So let's see if we can deliver that to them, right? And that is, man, that everything about that's great. So kudos to you, man, for putting yourself out there, for one, because it takes a lot to say, hey, I got an idea, I have a method, and I want to give that to people. Because the fear is always somebody's gonna say something about something, right? Like, this has been done, or who are you to say how I should eat, or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So it takes a lot to put yourself out there, is what I'm saying. So number one, congratulations. I mean, I think it's great. And number two, there seems to be, for whatever reason, and I don't know the answer to this, Dylan, an appetite for that. Like I can go on, I can find all of this stuff on my own and do all this stuff on my own. But there's a whole bunch of people that can't. That right, they need some sort of. I'll give you an example. My wife has just lost 35 pounds. Okay,
Awesome.
doing this right. It's great. Like nobody, everybody's real happy. We're real happy with the outcome and the results. But it's really the same things I've been doing for the last 10 years. But she paid somebody to tell her that, right? And then all of a sudden it just clicked, right? And she's like, hey, this is easy. The point of that is that there's a whole community of us out there, first responders or not, but mostly first responders that don't know where to go, don't know where to start, don't know where to jump in. They see the CrossFit games and they're like, nope, can't do that. But they never really looked at like the entry level kind of stuff, right? So
Right.
if you can deliver that to them, make our communities better, make us a fitter organization, make us a fitter profession, I don't know who wouldn't get behind.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that wholeheartedly. The whole genesis of me wanting to serve first responders, obviously, I am one, and it impacts my life in a certain type of way. And I know that if it's impacting my life, it's impacting other people's lives. And I just want to be able to give my knowledge and understanding of health, fitness, and nutrition to other people. So at the end of the day, like you said, it's going to be an impact driver in my life because I'm going to be able to help other people. But I know that people coming in, first responders, active military veterans, and their families, it'll be powerful for them. But just like anything else, it'll humble beginnings. All good things take time to develop and create. So that's kind of where we're at right now.
Yeah, I wish if there was one thing I could tell anybody, it's like, man, you just got to stick it out. The momentum thing, my first episode was all about momentum, right? Like you just got to, but everything starts slow, right? Like that rock that you kick off the ledge is at a very slow speed until it gains speed at the bottom. And if I have so many friends that are like, yeah, I started working out again, and I'm proud of them all for working out today. But in 3 weeks, they're like, yeah, I just kind of, they just never really dug their wheels into the dirt and got that momentum going, because they just can't get past the whatever it is that initially where we all feel when we're like, man, this is real hard, like this is real difficult, not knowing how much easier it gets down the road. So programming is a big thing with that, right? So like if people buy into a program, if people buy into a philosophy, obviously there's a huge retention in compliance, right? They're going to stay with it. They're going to stick with it.
Yeah.
Trying to get people to look past that. Well, it's only been a week, man. I don't know. I don't know what your expectations were, man, but we weren't going to drop 12 pounds and all of a sudden have a 315 bench in a week. Months down the road, maybe even years down the road, right? But I think that if anybody was asking me what I think people's number one hang up in our community, meaning first responders of doing something like that, it is that. It is expectations that don't meet reality.
Yeah, I mean that I think that transfers over to not just first responders, but to anybody. I was a personal trainer at Lifetime for a little while, about a year, and we had this thing called the 60-day challenge. And so people would get signed up for 60 days, lose a bunch of weight, be really focused. So you've got 2 months essentially you set a goal and you hit it. Well, what do you do after that? I mean, we had programs and things, but you get to the end of that goal and you hit it. And then most people would go, not everybody, but most people go right back to their original habits. And like you were saying, it takes more than 2 months to build lifestyle altering habits in your life.
But think about that business model for a second. Those are the same people that are going to re-enroll in the same 60-day program.
Yeah, right. And they were.
Right? So as a business model, man, if you are cutting people's calories to 800 a day for 6 weeks, and if you lose the most amount of weight and you win the most amount of money, and then 3 months later, those same people are re-enrolled in the same program, like you're never going to run out of participants, right? So I think a little bit of that may be a savvy business ploy. I don't know that to be true. I'm just saying it's awful weird that the same people cycle through the same programs and get the same result. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. And Lifetime's a great business. They've got a great model going there. They've changed it since then. It's different style and a whole different challenge, but I think they kind of realized the same thing. I think they shortened it up a little bit and changed the prizes, and they do a bunch of different stuff. Just to give a little shout out to Lifetime. I still have a bunch of friends there that are trainers and work there, so not gonna
Yeah.
couldn't talk bad about it anyway. It was a great experience.
No, I'm not talking bad about them. I'm just talking about those programs, like those 6-8 week. Everybody markets them. I'm not
Oh yeah.
just picking on Lifetime. But
Yeah.
like everybody markets them. It's a 6 or 8 week challenge. It's never a lifetime challenge, right? Because there has to be we have to end it, and there has to be a metric, and we have to meet it, right? And so it's just the fitness industry as itself, right? Like I
Oh
think
yeah.
healthcare is a good thing to have, but the healthcare model is terrible, right? So I think gyms and contests are a good thing to have. I just think that the way we market it to people could be better. Does that make sense?
Yep. No, I totally agree.
To build sustainable habits, not just good habits or even extreme habits for 6 weeks. Like let's look past that and get. But anyway, that's my soapbox, and I have a lot of them. I stand up on a lot of those boxes, man. And
I
you know
like it.
what? I'm not always right. Um, let's talk about what we really need to talk about, and how jacked I am about whatever idea you came up with to have a competition. It's called the Fittest First Responder in Iowa competition, January 10th, first inaugural. This is the year one, right? Going down for the first time on January 10th, 2026 in Waukee, Iowa. Run us through where that came from, how you got it off the ground, why you think it's important. Just tell us about it.
Yeah, I couldn't pinpoint a specific point in time where I thought that doing this would be a great idea. That this idea has always been in my head. So to give you a little background, I was on a competitive team with CrossFit, and we traveled around the Midwest and did different competitions for prize packages for money. And so I've always been very competitive. Like that's just kind of built into me to a certain extent. In doing that, I just kind of thought that that's a really cool thing to have in your back pocket, to be able to test your fitness and to be able to challenge yourself at that capacity. Like basically you're you're testing everything that your body has to give, essentially, in these types of events. And with the Fittest First Responder deal, it was, I want to give the people, the first responders in Iowa, the opportunity to be able to do that. And obviously there's challenges and stuff, firefighter challenges, there's circuits and stuff like that all over the world. Honestly, they do these different types of things, but none of them are specifically fitness based. And so I didn't want to create something that was the same as everything else. I wanted to pay homage to my background, where I've came from, the knowledge and understanding I have of competition series, and not necessarily how to host it or build it, but the idea of having a competitive atmosphere. And I thought that that would go really well with the first responders. I mean, maybe in the future, not even just in Iowa, other states can adopt something like this, or somebody else picks it up somewhere else, but got to start somewhere. So I'm in Iowa, and I'm a first responder, and I thought it would be really cool to do something like that in Iowa, where I'm from, obviously, and with the Des Moines, being in Des Moines, it helps that I know people here. So I thought it would be a great place to start. But the competition aspect of it, the fitness aspect of it, and getting people from other department aspects, bringing that all together under one roof, I thought was really cool. And then that's when I talked to Jeremy about it, and I was like, "Hey, I think this would be a really great event for Folds of Honor." And he was, how Jeremy is. He was like, "Yeah, let's do it. That's a great idea." And and so I brainstormed for a while. This really, I think, I think I began with this. I started running with this idea like early this year, and it just all came to, Jeremy and I would text and call back and forth, and we'd spitball and share ideas. And at the end of the day, he was just like, "Hey, this is your baby. You're gonna run it. You're gonna manage it, and if you want Folds of Honor on board, absolutely, we're on board. But this is gonna be under your jurisdiction. This is your world. I'm gonna let you do it, and we'll be there to support however you need us to."
I think that's the number one sign of a good leader, right? Like somebody comes to you with an idea and you support it, but don't take it over. You're like, I got you. Whatever you need. Let's see your passion in action, and let's see it go. So, is he on your shift?
No, I believe he's third division, so I think he's working today.
Are you on? Are you affiliated with the Folds of Honor? Like, are you on the Patriot board and that kind of stuff, or is it just? How did you make the connection with the Folds of Honor?
Yeah, just through Jeremy. Honestly, I saw that his whole progression from starting to inquire about opening a chapter in Iowa. I thought that was really cool. We have a page dedicated to Des Moines Fire Department only, and kind of shared some things on there. I thought it was really interesting. I don't know if I initially reached out to him or not about involvement, but he also always talks about, if you've got an idea, run it by me and let's see if we can make it happen with anything, not just Folds of Honor. He's very open like that. So I listened to the podcast that he was on, and he and I sat in an ambulance for 16 hours one day at the Ironman event on overtime, and we just kind of brainstormed a whole bunch of different stuff, and the ruck of remembrance came out of that at a certain point, and I think that was probably the inception of me thinking about how I can get involved with Folds of Honor. And I feel like doing something like that here locally, giving back to those communities and being able to give donations to that organization is, I've always wanted to and have supported organizations that support my mission in life, which is to help other people and give back. And Folds of Honor seems to do just that. And I didn't really know, honestly, a whole lot about Folds of Honor before Jeremy started talking about bringing a chapter to Iowa. And so he followed through on his idea, brought a chapter to Iowa, and I started brainstorming different ways that I could get involved, not necessarily being involved with the board or on the any of the other executive panels or anything that they've got with the chapter, but I'm an idea machine, and that idea just kind of came to me. And usually when I have an idea, I tend to follow through with it. And so 8 months later now, here we are, and almost a year later, we're moving into the competition in a little less than a month.
Man, that's awesome. Like the whole story is great. Number one, like how many ideas do you think in life are lost to just inaction? Like everybody has a good idea. It's just, I think people are scared to move on it. They're like, I've had what I thought were good ideas and lost to weakness, right? Where I was like, it probably won't work out, so I just don't do it. Or right. You're like, that's probably dumb in the long run. It's probably not going to work, but we'll never know, right? Because we didn't try. This podcast is a good example of that. Like, yeah, it's probably dumb that people want to sit around and listen to me talk shit about something, and it is still kind of stupid, right? Like, but here we are talking about the Fittest First Responder competition that's going to happen 6 weeks, because you had an idea, I had an idea, Jeremy had an idea. I didn't know anything about the Folds of Honor until I went to the Ruck. I only went to the Ruck because Sheena sent me the link, and I happened to be off that day, and I was like, oh, this sounds cool. I never do shit like this because I'm always working, or my kids always have stuff going on, and it's not every day your best pal dies of brain cancer, so yeah, I'll go. And then all of a sudden, boom, Jeremy's there, and this whole idea comes out, and then you see what that idea came to be, like hundreds of people, posters, tents, burgers, prize, you know what I mean? Like, and then people doing work. Um, and I can't, it's this last 3 months with reaching out to Jeremy and now you and some other people have just turned out some really good stuff. So kudos to you for following. I don't know if you heard me say when I was talking to Jeremy, like I had this idea once. Again, ideas are stupid.
Yeah.
When I was in West Des Moines, I was going to call it the Public Safety Cluster Games. I was going to make a CrossFit competition with just the West Des Moines Fire, EMS, PD, and Public Safety, because every year we did a flag football game. And then CrossFit kind of caught fire, and we converted all of our gyms and our stations to CrossFit gyms. And I was like,
Yeah.
let's have a competition. And everybody's
Yeah.
like, that's great. Let us know when it is. which, and then it just died. So how difficult has it been, or what kind of challenges have you come up against to try to get this idea from your brain to actually people coming through the door on January 10th?
Well, if you ask my wife, I've got a lot of ideas, and they usually end up costing us money because I will make that idea happen. And whether it works or it doesn't, it's gonna happen, and it either sticks or it doesn't. But I'm going to invest in it, and I'm going to try it. And so this is kind of in that same light. Building it out has been a unique experience because I've never built out a competition before like this. I've reached out to other people around the metro that have hosted successful competitions, CrossFit competitions, and things like that, to get their point of view and their perspective on, things that I could do, avenues that I could take, and whatnot. But at the end of the day, I have to make the decision on the route that I want to take and how to build it. So it's been honestly, it's been a great learning experience for me to be able to teach myself how to kind of build this out. And the first year of anything is going to be figure out what sticks and take the good stuff and get rid of the bad. So I don't know what the good stuff is yet, and I don't know what the bad stuff is yet, but we'll figure it out after this first competition and build from there. But I'd say the hardest part is getting the word out. Like, that's with anything new, trying to promote and get the word out and get people interested in it. I know there's a lot of interest that people want to do this. I just have to get that in front of the right people, talk to the right people, and have them help spread the word. So that's really the biggest, not stress factor, but that's the biggest sticking point for the first year of this, is to get the word out. And really, what else do I have aside from word of mouth right now? Social media, and just trying to talk to everybody I can about it. And that's what I'm doing.
It's really all you can do. What are your expectations? Are they low? Are they high? Or are we gonna?
Yeah, I have good
Are we gonna rival?
expectations. Yeah, I have big expectations for this. I think my goal for this was to get 50 first responders signed up. So I'm still working towards that goal. I want to, we opened it up, I think maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, to everybody. And we kind of had this conversation, me and Jeremy, about opening it up to anybody. So now there will be divisions where, anybody who wants to come in and throw down with their local first responders will be able to do the same stuff that everybody else is doing, but first responders will have their own division, and then it'll be broken up into male, female age groups. So I think that's a cool idea. It'll be more succinct. Obviously, in the future, we'll have more divisions and things like that, broken up, more categories for people to compete into. Jeremy brought up the idea of a youth division, maybe in the future.
Yeah.
It'll grow and become its own thing. But for now, it's goal is to get 50 first responders signed up, and we've still got quite a bit of time to get the word out and get people signed up and registered.
Later, after we wrap this up, I want you to send me all the links that you have to send me. That's to your personal accounts, to the competition websites, any other websites, and then I'm able to post those in the show notes.
Okay.
That way, it's just another way to get the word out. Like, I don't listen, and let me be clear, I don't have a huge following, but somebody's going to listen to this and go, I had no idea, and click the link, right? And that's how we're going to get That's how you're going to get exposure.
Yeah,
Not
that's
just for
great.
me, but I mean like those kind of things. So send me all your stuff, and I'll post that to show notes. Who's
Yeah,
going to
well,
do who's in charge of the programming? You?
me. Yep. So it's a one
All
man
right.
show.
You got to give us a teaser. Like give us some sort of stupid Dave Castro hint. Like all your say something dumb like better have all your ducks in a row. And then we got to try to figure out what kind of movement. Then we got to try to figure
Man,
out what kind of movement's going to be in a thing because you said ducks.
let's see. Well, I've posted a couple teasers on the event page, as far as workouts are
Whoa.
concerned.
Where's the event page at? Is it
Yeah,
on Facebook or on Instagram?
it's on Facebook, but I'm working on in the moment right now. Yesterday, I just created a Fittest First Responder Instagram page. So I'm going to move all the stuff that I've posted in the event over to that Instagram page within the next couple of days, and so you'll be able to see those. Yeah.
Perfect.
So I know that there's some people aren't on Facebook, some people aren't on Instagram, and that's another challenge. But if I should have both. So you'll be able to see what we're putting out on in the event page on the Instagram page, and the Instagram page will just be public. The event page on Facebook is an invite thing, but it's public access, so anybody can get into it and see it. You just have to be, I think, invited into it. So I do.
Once you're invited into that Facebook page, can you share it? So like my wife has 100,000 friends on Facebook. I think she knows like 40 of them. But if you invited her to the page, could then she blast that thing out on her Facebook?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay, good. All right. I'll get you her credentials after the show, and we'll make sure that she gets it because she has 1,000, 10,000. I don't know how many friends.
Okay. Yeah, that'd be great. But as far as the movements are concerned, so what I've put out in the past I think it's on the registration page, but it's also in the event group, in the event page on Facebook. It'll look like CrossFit from the outside, but while you're doing it, it's more task oriented and goal specific. So that's more leaning in towards tactical athletics rather than CrossFit. So we won't be doing the stereotypical ring muscle ups or kipping pull ups or handstand push ups or walking on our hands, but we will be using some of the same. Yeah, some of those high skill things. We will be using implements that, functional fitness, CrossFit affiliates, and gyms around the country and the world use. There will be a barbell. There will be some barbell work, not necessarily high skill, but it'll be, I'm not going to go too in depth on this, but you'll have some barbell work.
I get it. I get where you're going. It's going to be work. We're going to have to do work. You're going to have to move a load from point A to point B in a certain time domain, and you're going to have to do that as many times as you can, or more times than the next guy or gal. 100% right in my wheelhouse. Like, yep. I love that sled stuff, the Atlas stones, the sandbags. Like, I have all that stuff in my gym. Just doing work. I do not like reverse burpees because nobody knows how to do them. So as long as that shit's not in there.
I don't even know what that is, but it sounds
when we get done, YouTube it. Like it's ridiculous.
No, there will be no reverse burpees at the Fittest First Responder event.
Perfect. What else do you want to say about the event? So registration is live. Do you get something if you register? You get a free t-shirt or anything?
We will have, hopefully, I'm working on the t-shirt thing right now. They will not be this first year. Everything that I'm doing, aside from the donation part for Folds of Honor, will be out of pocket. So until I get that whole process streamlined, t-shirts will not be free, unfortunately, not this year anyway, just because I'm paying for that kind of stuff out of pocket. But in the future, there will be swag bags and merch and stuff like that for competitors for sure. First year, I don't know what I don't know. I'm getting into it, but there will be a more refined process. But the winner of the first responder divisions will have obviously bragging rights for an entire year, and we're working on getting a belt created for each division winner. So they'll be able to hold the belt and the title for an entire year.
Nice, man. I think that's awesome. How did you, if you don't mind, how did you decide on the location?
It was tough. Honestly, I went to multiple different sites and talked with the owners. And then in the end, I had to make a pretty tough decision on the available space, the type of equipment that was available, and the utilization of that space. End of the day, I made the decision to go with Sisu because they have it's a bigger space. It'll allow us to spread out more. And then as far as, like you mentioned earlier, some of the implementation that we're going to have as far as programming is concerned, they had a better capacity to be able to serve the type of events that I wanted to have involved with the competition. So it was hard, man,
I don't
because
know anything about that place, but is it like not a traditional CrossFit gym? Is it more of a strength and conditioning type
Yep.
outfit?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, they have group classes there. They've got a really great community, as do all the other places that I spoke with and had the opportunity to meet with and talk about hosting the event. It's just, yeah, it seemed like to me to be the best fit as far as everything that I just mentioned. And their classes are awesome. They do group fitness classes. They do personal training there. They've got not involved with the competition in any way, shape, or form, but they just added another, I think, 5,000 square foot facility that you can go in for 24-hour access. And it's got all the bodybuilding, functional fitness stuff that you need. Upstairs, they just built a Pilates yoga studio with a sauna studio on top of that. It's just it's a great atmosphere, man.
We're getting on about an hour. We're probably going to wrap this up because I need to be cognizant of your time and your children's time and your wife's time. I'm stoked. I'm going to be a competitor, and obviously anything I've also volunteered to help that day. So anything you need prior to that day, during that day, it doesn't matter. I'm going to register to be a competitor, and I'll be there at sunrise or whenever you need somebody to help move some stuff around. So
I appreciate that, man.
That's how jacked up I am about this thing.
That's awesome. I love it. We need more of you. More of you to get involved and signed up and come and have fun on that day.
Oh man, I've been waiting for something like this. Not because I think I'm the fittest first responder, because I don't. But I'm just saying, like, a lot of CrossFit opens in my day, man, and we all do that hashtag, paramedic thing, and where we get lumped into the first responder hashtags on the Facebook page or on the CrossFit community page and all that kind of stuff. Like, it's just cool to put yourself up against other people that do the same thing you do. I've always thought that, like, again, weakness has won over a lot of people in the past, because we're scared of it, right? But putting yourself up against another dude that does the same thing you do in some sort of work capacity, I think, is probably one of the best things you can do for yourself, right? Number one, because it's going to humble you real fast, and number two, it gives you something to build off of, some sort of metric to say, here's where I stand. I might be 6 out of 6, but I know exactly why I'm 6 out of 6. Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah, there will be some growth that happens for sure year over year, both individually and then on the event scale for sure. And like you said at the end,
people. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like you were saying at the end of the day, this is a community function, man. I'm trying to just like you and I have the experience with the communities that the CrossFit boxes had to offer. This is a way for the first responder community in Iowa to come together and have that same shared experience. I think it'll be great.
I think it's going to be awesome. I can't wait to see what kind of savages just show up to that place, man, and just rip through this stuff. I think it's great. Last thing before we go, and when we wrap this up, just stay on the line for a half a second longer after I shut the recording off. Do you have some sort of motto, some sort of phrase or saying that you live by that all of this can be summarized in on how you live your life?
Yeah, actually I do. And it's taken a while for me to get here to this point, but the phrase "strength is a virtue" is something that is very important to me, and something that I've used in multiple business endeavors. And it'll be pretty readily available and prominent with the method performance and nutrition as well. Strength is a virtue means to me that everything I do in my life, I'm going to do it with strength. And I'm going to do it with all of my being and all of my capacity. And just like getting out of the Navy, trying to figure out what I'm doing with my life, applying for the fire service for 4 times out of 5 years, having kids, trying to be the best dad I can be. Everything I do, I'm going to do it with strength. And that is pretty virtuous to me.
Well, listen, man, you're doing it. I can't thank you enough for taking an hour out of your first day off to do this, and thank you for promoting health and wellness in our space, and thank you for taking on the large task of getting a whole bunch of us together on January 10th so we can just do some cool shit.
Yeah, man, I'm looking forward to it. Thank you for your time, man. It's been great.
Hey guys, thanks again for listening to another episode of the Shift Change Podcast. I need to ask if you would leave a rating. I think that it helps people who are new to the podcast find it quicker. It doesn't do me any good, but it does help other people that are looking for the Shift Change Podcast on Spotify or Apple. It just comes up quicker the more ratings that you give it. Whether you give it a 2 or a 5, it doesn't make a difference. It just helps other people. If you need to get a hold of me, contact me via my email, the show email, which is talkshiftchange@gmail.com. Or you can message me on Instagram at talk.shiftchange. Excuse me, at talk.shiftchange on Instagram. As always, thanks for listening. I could not have imagined how well this podcast has been received. So, as always, I appreciate it. Work hard, be kind.